Welcome back to another episode of NA Now. Brandon Hofstra joined here with Danbury Hat Trick's new head coach, Lenny Caglianone. First off, Lenny, congrats on the new gig, my friend. And how are things going and how excited are you? And how's the summer been?
First of all, thank you. And yeah, I mean it's been a quick turnaround. I think the timeline of when we took the job, collectively as a staff, there's been a lot of cleaning up to do.
Mhm.
Obviously you want to go in with an open mind, but there definitely are some things that we needed to clean up, and the short amount of time with some of those important dates, with tender deadlines, the draft, main camp. So listen, it's been, I guess the best way you could put it is controlled chaos in
Right.
that sense. And you just got to make the best of your situations. I'm pretty big on being optimistic and pragmatic about things. So thankfully, I'm well insulated with a staff that has that same approach and mindset. So it's allowed us to navigate some of the bigger issues that we've had to hurdle, but I think we've done it gracefully and efficiently. And I couldn't be happier with how the process is going thus far. And obviously now we're in a time where you could let your hair down a little bit with the main camp just concluding, but also at the same time, I'm a very big burn the midnight oil and work when others aren't. And you're trying to make sure everything is top tier, first class, professional as can be for these guys to come in.
Lenny, very well said, first off, but you have some experience in this league. You played in the league. You've been a coach in the NAHL and the NA3HL, mostly out east, and you're an out east guy from New Jersey, staying out in that area as well. Talk about those experiences, how they've prepped you now for this head coaching job, and maybe even being a guy from the East Coast and playing in the East Coast, how you can help bring guys now to Danbury.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's funny, right? Everything starts to come full circle, I guess. And for me, being in a situation and position to, to test my feet in the league as a player, it's actually ironic. Again, coming full circle, my general manager Bob Thornton was actually my head coach throughout juniors
Ooh.
at the New Jersey Rockets, and he was a guy who got me in touch with Wichita and wind up spending some time there and got to experience the South and its fullest experience. So that was definitely a very fun time and something to hang your hat on to be in that atmosphere and to play in front of those people and to have those kind of memories and that setting, especially junior hockey. It's great and it gives you a different type of culture. It seasons you not only as a hockey player but a person. I'm very big on being a sponge and just absorbing your atmosphere and your situations around you. So it definitely helped me, not so much. It did help me as a player, but more so much as a person. You're definitely interacting with a different culture, right? Being from the East and then going down to New Jersey, or going down to Texas, excuse me, it's a little bit of a culture shock. So
Right.
yeah, but it was fun. It was a great experience, and that experience at that time wasn't replicated on the East Coast.
Mhm.
So it was a lot to digest. And then I got to give a big shout out to Craig Doremus at the Titans. He kind of helped me get my foot in the door with the North American League team that was fortunate enough to win the Robbie that year. So I got to watch a team go through the developmental process, the front office process, et cetera, in regards to leading up to that ultimate goal. And getting my seasoning at the NA3 level. A lot of people don't realize, I think, the concentration of talent coaching wise that is there in that sense, and let alone the talent by the players. I think there's a lot of respect that needs to be put on that developmental league, and I think it serves a dual purpose with the players and the coaches. I think it's a tremendous league. I think the outfit of the whole North American league outlook is just it's tremendous, and I think you could kind of put a pulse on it. Like I'm a homegrown guy in that sense. Like I've started out in the NA3 with my first head coaching job, got my feet wet, getting on the bench and on the ice with Craig and the Titan staff, with Bobby DeRico and Kyle Shapiro. So it's situations like that where you're able to now really digest and take away what you and listen. I love Craig to death, and me and him we'd have disagreements, but everything was an intellectual middle ground in regards to a
Mhm.
hockey conversation. There was no this is how it is. It's always let's thermostat the situation, find that middle ground, and make the situation as best as we possibly can. And you take away things that you love and that you don't like, and I say this to a lot of guys, like no one woke up and was Bill Belichick. No one woke up and was Herb Brooks. Like they've learned, they've had tutelage from other characters and other authority figures that they've taken and injected into their own personality. And I think that's the kind of the journey that I've gone on and still on. I don't think it'll ever stop. That's allowed me to just get to this point today. And I have a lot of people to thank along the way. And I think the biggest thing, like you talk about being out east, like it's the concentration, let alone the concentration of schools, right? That are there and accessible to all these teams. You talk about the concentration of talent. I
Right.
think it's just an unbelievable hotbed for junior hockey players, for youth players as well. And the influx of academies that's there that's now going to pull from other parts of the country that are going to allow us to access that talent a lot more. I think it's just such a dynamic and polarizing climate of hockey players and hockey coaches and personalities. It just for me is it's bar none. You just can't beat it.
Right.
And for me to stay in the East and be a guy who's familiar and have my connections here, it really is it's a dream situation for me, right? You don't
Yeah.
have to transplant yourself, and it allows you to keep your relationships intact and actually grow them and root them even more. So I'm super excited about that.
Yeah, awesome. Like you said, being a sponge of the game, from playing to now coaching, what are you looking for in this squad and kind of your expectations for this upcoming season? And how do you instill the way you want to play in the East Division?
Yeah, I mean, listen, and obviously being around the East Division and seeing it from a couple of different perspectives,
Mhm.
um, I listen. It's a highly skilled division. I think it has its own unique flavor. So for me, I really want to first off acknowledge what this program face value wise has gone through, right? We understand where we've come from and what has happened. And listen, I think it's good to always acknowledge that. We don't want to run away from that. But also at the same time, we want to embrace this unique situation and opportunity that we have here to collect the talent that's in the East Coast and inject them in an environment that is highly accessible, like we said, to schools and other scouts and other situations and programs. And the way I think we're going to do that to keep cadence with my peers in the division is we're going to play a very high transitional game. I do believe in that. I do believe in first touch efficiency in the defensive zone. It's just more so, I think nowadays everybody has skill.
Right.
Everybody has the ability to play the game. The basement is rising in regards to what the bare minimum is to play in every league, not just this one. So for us, we have to really turn the dial on the details and the intellectual aspect of the game. And I think that's where we're going to make our most strides, right? And for me, the developmental aspect is there. You're going to have kids coming in from different programs, right? I
Mhm.
don't have the protein of having a returning core that knows my system, knows my personality. So that's why I'm very big on being vulnerable and authentic, letting these guys come in like, hey, this is what we're doing. This is how it's going to be ran. The quicker we buy in, the more exposure we're going to get. So
Right.
a very high transitional, fast-paced game that's efficient in all three zones. That's going to maximize our scoring opportunities and keep us out of our D zone as much as we can. That's the approach we're going to take. And I think in regards to the exposure aspect, you have to grow your team organically.
Hmm.
I think it's a really, really big misunderstanding sometimes with uh, with with personalities in this league that you're not going to get polished players here. It's just not going to happen. Listen, I'm not saying there's not, but when you bring guys in, you have to grow them. You have to water them with the knowledge and the intellect that's going to allow them to blossom as a player. And for me, it's listen, September, October, November might be turbulent times, but when you guys when you get guys comfortable and especially the majority of the team and the core of the team and you start to fire on all cylinders and you're most optimal, that's when you start to grow and it happens organically and naturally and that's kind of the approach. It's listen, it's a long season. If you got to take a little bit of extra time to develop individual personalities or in a macro sense the team as a whole, that's why I'm here. That's the root of what I'm doing right now is to coach and to mentor and to have a good basis of tutelage for these guys to learn from and inject in their game so they could translate it to the next level. I
Yeah.
think that's huge. So we want to take that approach and thus far it's attracted the personalities that we want.
Right. Definitely. You touched on it there. The league preaches development, exposure, advancement. Last year, hat tricks with 6 players committed at the NCAA level. All of that development, exposure, and advancement will start, in a sense, in September with the 2024 NAHL Showcase. First time as being a bench boss at this event. Obviously, a lot of familiar faces, some friendly foes will take on against each other, all that good stuff. But how excited are you for that? Not only for yourself and seeing people, but also for these players to get their first look from NCAA scouts.
Yeah, I think it's huge, and kind of the big thing that we preached once camp was done. And I think it is true, and it's not to take anything away from anybody else, but we have a magnifying glass on us here in regards to this transition. I think it's something that, like everybody's, the curiosity is there in regards to, let's see what happens,
Right.
and I kind of told guys, I'm like, listen, this is a chance for us to capitalize on that curiosity from all different eyes and ears and personalities around hockey. Um, let's have a little bit of swagger to our game. Let's have that chip on our shoulder, and let's make sure that we do what we know is necessary to properly display our talents and what we're trying to do here. And I think, listen, you're always going to have people line up with opinions of and perception of your team and your situation, but I think for these guys, like I you get this energy and this feel, especially as a coach, right?
Hmm.
You just there's something in that room there that guys understand what's going on, and to have 25, 26 faces look at you and so you know what? I know why I'm here, and I'm happy I'm here, and I'm ready to go. That's when you start to get very happy with the situation, feel special about it. So to have that attitude going in, I think you're gonna find guys who are just gonna take advantage of whatever space, area, time, anything that they could get to really expose the situation for what it is and why they're there. So I'm
Hmm.
super excited for people to come in and just see maybe some of the guys who didn't get enough of love who are here, and maybe a couple guys missed on some guys, and I think for us that's the beauty of it. We're all in the same situation, so I'm super excited for those guys just to get in front of people and to let them know, hey, like there is something here we've bought in, and all it takes is a collection of good human beings to really turn the ship and make a good product.
Yeah, Lenny, well said. Everything. We're rooting for you. Excited for the season to start, and we will see you soon in September, my friend. Thanks for doing this.
Appreciate the time, and obviously you guys are awesome, and thank you for the warm welcomes. It means a lot to myself and the staff, and we're happy to be a part of it.